welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman inaugurates the National Seed Bank in Algiers, where he highlights its importance in the achievement of national food security. A presidential decree appoints the President and members of the Authority of Personal Data Protection for a 5-year term. The Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saeed Shingreha, carries out a working and inspection visit to the first military region and examines the organization of the international military competition, the Airborne Section 2022, due to be held this month. Good evening, those were today's headlines. First, in our news, Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman inaugurated on Thursday the National Seed Bank at the National Center for Control and Certification of Seeds and Plants located in the capital Algiers. It is worth noting that this bank, which has 5 rooms, are dedicated for plant seeds and animal genes, was designed to meet the international standards. During this inauguration, bin Abdurrahman stressed the importance of this bank in the achievement of national food security via the promotion of the national production of seeds. Our Premier estimated that the exclusive recourse to local production of seeds is a major challenge, while affirming as well the importance to intensify efforts in order to achieve the wanted results. Let's have a listen.
أيتها السيدات الفضليات، أيها السادة الأفاضل، لقد أولى
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, gave a crucial importance to research development in all areas, namely knowledge, through the link between universities, institutions and administrations. While we aim on the governmental level to enshrine this principle through vital and strategic achievements that reflect the efforts made in the field of knowledge. It is of vital importance since it concretizes and strengthens the principle of the country's food security, particularly as a result of the efforts, research and Algerian competency studies derived from Algerian institutes and universities pertaining to research centers under the agriculture and rural development sector.
Before the inauguration of the National Seed Bank, Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman visited the stands of an exhibition organized on this occasion, where he listened to various explanations concerning this field. Report by Sonia Gassi, commentary by Ranir Bahri.
The Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman announced that the government aspires to cover 80% of its national needs in terms of agricultural production in 2023 during a tour in the pavilions of an exhibition organized on the sidelines of an inauguration ceremony of the National Seed Bank. According to him, the state relies mainly on scientific research centers, institutes and university laboratories to achieve this objective. It is the applied research that will allow us to make the difference and prove the added value provided by the Algerian scientists and researchers in the field. Theoretical research alone is not enough. Our goal is that we must achieve 80% of national needs coverage in 2023. We must intensify efforts. The Prime Minister also wished to salute the effectiveness of the 2022 National Firefighting Plan, which resulted in a significant reduction of fires and their control on a national scale compared to last year. He pointed out that the concerned authorities by the forest fires have built on the experiences of the last year and are working to achieve the international standards applied in this matter. One of the aggravated factors are fires. We have seen that there were no open paths, as well as the presence of a dense vegetation over a large area. Therefore, the work must be done to remove this vegetation cover and open the paths. This thing allows for rapid intervention. Ayman bin Abdurrahman also announced the forthcoming launch of reforestation campaign aimed at planting 60 million shrubs on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the recovery of national sovereignty. The Prime Minister also affirmed the end of the import of vegetable seeds next year.
Now to the Supreme Court, and following a presidential decree, the President and members of the Authority of Personal Data Protection were installed on Thursday for a term of 5 years. The installation ceremony was held in the presence of the President of the Constitutional Court, Omar Belhaj, the advisor of the President of the Republic in charge of the Legal and Judicial Affairs, Boualam Boualam, the Justice Minister, Abdel Rashid Tabbi, the State Council President, Farida Ben Yahya, and the President of the National Council of Human Rights, Abdel Majid Zalani. This body, which gathers 16 members, will be chaired by Lutfi Boujma, and that in accordance with the instructions of the President of the Republic, the missions of this body will to protect the sensitive and personal data provided daily by the citizens with both the public and private authorities.
I would like to extend my deep gratitude on my behalf and on behalf of my fellow members to the President of the Republic for the trust that he honored us with to preside this event, hoping that we will live up to it, praying to God Almighty to assist us in accomplishing our mission. We took an oath to spare no effort for the success of this new institution and the role assigned to it, to showcase its best image with the challenges ahead for the implementation of one of the most important human rights, namely the right to privacy. Algeria, like other countries in the world, gives a great importance to the protection of the privacy of individuals by signing international charters and making this protection a constitutional principle that enshrines the individual's right to the protection of their private life, honor, the secrecy of their correspondence, and private communications, no matter the nature.
In other news, the Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Shingriha, carried out on Thursday a working and inspection visit to the 1st Military Region in Blida Province, where he supervised the inauguration of new infrastructures. More details with Manar Ammari.
At the beginning and after the welcoming ceremony by the Major General Commander of the 1st Military Region, the General of the Army Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Shingriha, accompanied by Major General Commander of the Land Forces and Central Directors at the National Defense Ministry and the High Command of the National People's Army, followed a presentation made by the Major General Commander of the Land Forces, General Supervisor of the Organization of the International Military Competition, the Airborne Section 2022, who provided extensive explanations on the organizational aspects related to this important sports event. On this occasion, the General of the Army gave a set of instructions to the organizing committee, particularly concerning the imperative to make all the necessary human and material means available and to meet all the conditions for the success of this international event. The General of the Army visited the Regional Military Sports Complex in Blida Province, where he attended the final rehearsals for the preparation of the opening ceremony and closely followed all the scheduled performances. He then supervised at the Blida Regional Army Circle the opening of the historical and cultural military exhibition to the public. Subsequently, the General of the Army, accompanied by the Director of the National Services, supervised the inauguration ceremony of the headquarters of the Regional Directorate of National Services, where he inspected its various services and bureaus. Accompanied by the Director of Social Services, the General of the Army supervised the inauguration of the Garrison Circle of the Army in Blida province, where he visited its diverse infrastructures. The General of the Army insisted on this occasion on the necessity of safeguarding this important achievement. At the end of his visit, the General of the Army, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Shangriha, laid the cornerstone of the Psychopedagogical Center for Children in Blida, in the 1st Military Region.
Moving on to agriculture, the public authorities are sparing no effort to make Wurgra province a new hub for agriculture, and for this, training farmers to use the modern technologies is a crucial step. Najah Tayyar has more.
The farmers of Wurgla province aim to acquire advanced equipment to be able to exploit large agricultural areas, and this by following new production methods using updated techniques. Pivot irrigation is more developed now. We can even control it remotely. Pivot irrigation is necessary to ensure food security. The modernization of agricultural processes and the use of new irrigation equipment are new themes treated and developed during the Technic Days, bringing together specialists and investors to allow them to be updated. We make the farmers of Wurgla province aware of the importance of the new technologies in the field in the matter of irrigation. The public authorities have a great interest in strategic cultivation, in particular those of cereals. The Chamber of Agriculture works to provide farmers with information necessary through training. Developing the agricultural sector in Wurgla to make it an agricultural center with excellence and thus contribute to the revitalization of the national economy with the aim of moving towards self-sufficiency.
In another context, the latest military attack against the Gaza Strip is still causing an international echo. Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that she was alarmed by the number of Palestinian children killed in the recent years. She also called for those responsible to be held accountable to her office. Bachelet added that the high number of children killed or injured this year is unacceptable. According to the Office of the UN Commissioner for Human Rights, a number of Zionist strikes hit some visibly civilian properties. Michelle Bachelet said, quote-unquote, such attacks must be stopped. She also called for prompt, independent, impartial, and thorough and transparent investigations concerning the incidents where people were killed or injured. Still, with the international news, the Moroccan occupying forces continue to repress Sahrawi activists. The Moroccan police surrounded the house of Mariam Bouhilla, the vice president of the Association for the Control of Natural Resources and Environmental Protection in Western Sahara. They also intimidated her family members in order to prevent them from celebrating the release of their son, Ghali Bouhilla, after being imprisoned for a year and a half for defending his people's right to self-determination. The association also held the Moroccan occupier fully responsible for the continuous and systematic violations of human rights in the occupied territories of Western Sahara and asked the UN to urgently intervene and assume its responsibilities towards the Sahrawi people. In Rabat, Morocco, nearly 200 people demonstrated in solidarity with the Palestinian people following the recent attacks carried out by the Zionist occupier in Gaza. The demonstrators also demanded the withdrawal of all relations between Morocco and the Zionist entity. Rania al-Bahri has the details.
Moroccans once again took to the streets to express their solidarity with Palestinian people. following the recent murderous attacks perpetrated by the Zionist occupier against the Ghazawi people, demanding the breaking of all relations with the Zionist entity. All the militants and organizations supporting the Palestinian cause responded to the call of the Moroccan Front of Support of Palestine and strongly participated in the marches denouncing the barbaric aggression of the Gaza Strip. The Moroccans accused the Minister of Foreign Affairs Nasser Bourita of acting against the interests of the people, and even more seriously, he put the aggressor and Gaza, which was attacked, in one hand, like Gaza evoked the fighting. We want to tell the Moroccan regime that the Zionist entity which are building relations with is a criminal entity that kills Palestinian women and children. This normalization is considered as a betrayal of the Palestinian cause. The Moroccan Authority called on all international organizations for the defense of human rights in the world to assume their responsibilities in the fight against human rights violations perpetrated by the Zionist entity against the Palestinian people. In addition, the front called on the Moroccan people to be united to face normalization that threatens the independence and stability of their country. For its part, the Moroccan Association for Human Rights has reported other crimes by the Makhzen forces against African migrants on June 24th, when dozens of migrants were brutally killed by Moroccan security forces as they attempted to enter the Spanish enclave of Melilla. According to the testimonies, the migrants suffered from all kinds of attacks by the Makhzen forces. The association has denounced this fact, pleading for the condemnation of those who interfere in this kind of inhuman practice towards migrants.
On Thursday, the Republic of Colombia resumed its diplomatic relations with the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, and this in accordance with the UN Charter and the agreement concluded on February 27, 1985, said a statement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia made public at the end of the audience granted by the President Gustavo Petro at the Republican Palace in Bogota to the Foreign Minister Mohammed Salem Ould Salik in his capacity as a representative of the President of Western Sahara and Secretary General of the Polisario Front, Brahim Ghali. Moving on to Mali, where the president of the transition, Colonel Assimi Goïta, decreed on Thursday a 3-day national mourning in memory of the 42 soldiers killed last Sunday in a terrorist attack on their camp in the Gao region. The government said in a statement that the attacks resulted in the death of 42 soldiers and the injury of 22 others, whereas 37 of the attackers' side were killed on the spot. And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us.